Welcome back to the Strategic Analysis Center. In the rigid, almost tectonic hierarchy of the United States Navy over the past half-century, there has always existed an inviolable boundary, a theological line in the sand. The supercarrier, CVN, was the undisputed nuclear-powered king of the oceans, a 100,000-ton sovereign. In contrast, the amphibious assault ship, LHA, LHD, was the tireless workhorse, the tactical delivery system for the Marine Corps. But in 2014, an entity emerged from the shipyards of Huntington Ingalls that committed a profound act of military heresy. The Americans launched the LHA-6, christened it the USS America, and did the unthinkable. They completely excavated the well deck, a structural feature considered the very soul and identity of every amphibious ship since the bloody landings of World War II. In its place, they installed a cavernous, high-tech aviation complex. With a displacement exceeding 45,000 tons, the USS America is not merely a transport. It is larger than the French flagship Charles de Gaulle and eclipses the newest carriers of the Indian and Italian navies. Yet, the Pentagon persists in its modest classification of amphibious assault ship. Do not let the terminology deceive you. This isn't modesty. It is a masterpiece of strategic deception. Why would a global naval superpower deliberately sacrifice the ability to deploy heavy M1A2 Abrams tanks or LCAC hovercraft into the surf? Why was the USS America designated as the flagship of the Pacific over a massive Nimitz-class giant? Today, we will perform a total surgical autopsy on the high-tensile steel hull of the USS America. We will dissect its aviation-centric architecture, probe the high-voltage heart of its hybrid electric gas turbine propulsion, and analyze the complex electronic nervous system that allows it to coordinate a stealth-driven war across thousands of miles of contested blue water. To truly grasp the strategic brilliance hidden within this hull, we cannot simply look at a flight deck shimmering with F-35Bs. We must descend into its internal organs to understand the extreme structural sacrifices and engineering gambles made to achieve absolute, uncompromising aerial overmatch. 1. Structural revolution, the death of the well deck and the rise of the superhangar. The decision to remove the well deck on the America class, Flight 0, was the most controversial pivot in amphibious shipbuilding history. It was a choice between boots on the ground, the fire in the sky. The volumetric revolution. By gutting the massive floodable bay which typically occupies the rear third of a ship's internal volume, engineers freed up an astronomical amount of space. This cubic footage was surgically reallocated to two critical pillars of power: the expanded hangar bay and the advanced aviation maintenance complex, the material science of the flight deck. One of the most hidden technical feats of the USS America is its flight deck. The F-35B's Pratt & Whitney F-135 engine generates a downward thermal blast that would melt or buckle traditional naval steel. Engineers had to develop a new, high-tensile, heat-treated steel alloy and specialized thermal spray coatings to ensure the deck wouldn't deform during vertical landings. This is metallurgy at the edge of the possible. The maintenance sovereign. Unlike older amphibious ships that had to retreat to port for major repairs, the USS America is equipped with industrial-grade overhead cranes and climate-controlled engine storage. It can perform full power module engine swaps for the F-35B in the middle of a typhoon, a capability previously reserved for the elite supercarrier fleet. 2. Hybrid electric propulsion. The silence of the apex predator. The USS America has abandoned the era of clunky steam boilers. It operates on a revolutionary hybrid electric drive, HED system, a sophisticated synergy between gas turbines and auxiliary propulsion motors. GELM 2500 plus gas turbines. These are the ship's massive quadriceps. Based on advanced aerospace turbine technology, they provide instantaneous, brutal torque. This velocity is vital for generating the necessary wind over deck to lift an F-35B loaded to its maximum takeoff weight. Auxiliary propulsion motors, APS. For roughly 75% of its operational lifespan, a ship patrols at low speeds. During noon periods, the hungry gas turbines are shut down completely, and the ship glides on silent electric motors. The ghost advantage. This hybrid system drastically minimizes the ship's acoustic signature and infrared IR signature. By running on electricity, The ship emits significantly less thermal energy through its stacks and creates fewer hull vibrations, making it an incredibly elusive target for enemy thermal-seeking satellites and acoustic homing torpedoes lurking in the deep. 3. The electronic nervous system, C4I, and the art of stealth coordination. The USS America is, in essence, a software-defined warship. Its lethal nature lies not in its guns, but in its absolute mastery of the electromagnetic spectrum. AN, SPS-48, G3D search radar. This is the ship's eyes, providing a high-fidelity three-dimensional air surveillance picture. AN, SLQ, 32V7 CWIP Block 3. This is the most powerful invisible shield in the U.S. Navy's arsenal. It doesn't just detect enemy radar, it manipulates it. CWIP can drown out enemy targeting sensors, sever the control links of hostile drone swarms, and execute offensive cyber operations while the target is still miles away. Cooperative engagement capability. The LHA-6 acts as a massive data node. It can ingest sensor data from an F-35B Lightning II far beyond the horizon and pipe na trực vào hệ thống chiến đấu Aegis của các tàu khu trục đi kèm. We see a machine of silent propulsion and elite electronic warlock firepower. But engineering is only half the story. To truly understand why the USS America is feared, we must see how it behaves when the gray zone turns into a red zone. The context. The year is 2027. A near-peer adversary has established an iron curtain of A2 AD batteries, anchored by the infamous DF-21D carrier killer missiles. They are waiting for a $13 billion Ford-class target to enter their kill zone. The operation. Instead of a supercarrier, the U.S. Navy deploys the USS America. Thanks to its lower acoustic profile and reduced IR signature, it slips through the initial satellite detection layers. Phase 1. The stealth incursion. Under the cover of electromagnetic silence, 20 F-35Bs are prepped. The squadron launches and uses its own passive sensors to map the enemy's radar gaps. Phase 2. Decapitation. Flying deep into enemy territory, the F-35Bs neutralize the early warning radar nodes and drone command centers with precision munitions. The adversary is blinded and confused before they even realize an amphibious ship has entered their sovereign waters. Phase 3. Tactical flexibility. Having paralyzed the defenses, the USS America pivots. Nosuzung MV-22 Ospreys. This simulates proves the USS America is not just a transport, it is a mobile, stealth-driven strike hub. But why would Washington risk a Flight Zero configuration without a well deck? The answer lies in a macro-military strategy that is quietly redefining how America maintains global hegemony. My friends, the USS America, LHA-6, is the physical personification of the Distributed Maritime Operations, DMO, strategy. In an era where a single long-range missile can threaten a massive, concentrated target, the U.S. Navy has made a cold, calculated decision: distribute the lethality. The America-class Flight Zero is not a structural mistake. It is a ruthless, adaptive evolution. By constructing nuncheek Lightning carriers, the United States has created strike groups that are smaller, more agile, and exponentially harder to track, yet they carry the stealth warlock firepower of the 22nd century. The deliberate removal of the well deck to prioritize aviation proves that the Pentagon has shifted from a brute force amphibious mindset to a long-range aerial overmatch doctrine. While America's rivals are obsessed with building massive, traditional carriers to mimic the Nimitz class of the 1970s, the Americans have moved a generation ahead with ghost ships like the USS America. How do you counter an enemy you can't see on radar? How do you defend a coastline when the enemy doesn't even need to get close to strike? The USS America is a stark reminder. Hegemony on the high seas no longer belongs to the ship with the biggest hull, but to the one with the fastest data and the most invisible strike. What do you think? Did the loss of the well deck weaken the U.S. projection? Or is this the masterstroke that will maintain their dominance for the next 50 years?